Alright, back with a relatively short video. I'm going to do a 2025 recap. I probably will not do that, but I want to just go through a few things here. Discovered a couple things. It dawned on me that Burbank Sports Cards was virtually gone off of eBay, and I had remembered that a while back ago. They still have, I guess, 12,000 items, but almost nothing. I think it was 12,000. I don't know. And I was finding virtually nothing that I was typing in. Nothing. I was like, well, this card was here, this card was here, this card was here. I found them on Fanatics Collect. I've never bought anything from Fanatics Collect, and so I said, let me give that a shot. So I signed up, and I made an order. Again, these cards just really stack up very, very quickly, regardless of what you got. So I spent $20, $5 of that was shipping, but I guess it could have been COMC shipping. And, cards were 99 cents. For the cards that have been on Burbank Sports Cards as long as I can remember. So I was able to get some of those. There were no big stars. Burbank does not have a lot of huge cards, and what was crazy is like cards like this one here. I didn't get this exact card here. This is from Rich and Deals. Manchester United, pick the card you want here. But all the big stars are gone, and so you can't really build any of these sets. And if you even did find some of these sets here, with David Beckham and Ronaldo or whoever's in that set there, you'd probably get not like a very gradable one, probably something that come back a 6 instead of like a 9 or 10. So I don't know about that anymore. Anyway, so I bought, 15 cards, and it came out to $20 or just over $20. Some of these card sets have 150 cards in it, and again, they're doing them per card. So even though these card sets that I picked up from like the late 90s to the mid 2000s, they're just insane, and I don't have any access to soccer cards very often at my LCS or card shows. If they were card shows, they would be, Panini from the last 4 years, and I don't need any money of that. I've got plenty of that stuff. So again, even the modern stuff, and my whole deal went backwards because I was trying to look for some A and BC soccer cards here. There's the Attic Reserve here, and they have some A and BC stuff there. But again, just one card there is $4, and that's $5. And these are things that I used to be able to get for less than that. Stuff is just zoomed out of control there. And those are the cheaper ones. And there were some 70s cards there. There's one from the 74 A and BC footballer set there. And it's now $7.50. Again, that could be a, semi-star, don't really know. But again, those cards, I was getting them at low grades for like 50 cents to $1, and that's all I really want. I can't do any set builds anymore because it's being punched in the face time and time again. Again, videos, most of the videos that I'm coming across are only for those people who are going to flip cards and have some sort of, Hall of Famer in their collection or some sort of notable person. But when you're trying to collect cards that not a person on the planet would grab unless they are hoping to get a ridiculously high grade from some grading company, then I'm stuck with, these people that want anywhere between $1 and $15 per card or more, and then somebody say, well, that's great. So you throw it in your collection and you forget about it for decades. But you only need that for a potential set build if you're trying to do that. Or, or if you just go for a player run or what have you. So like Manchester United is very, very popular. So there's certain players and cards you are just not going to find or for any kind of deal. Because a lot of those have been graded. And it's just absolutely just a mess. And it's a major, major headache for all things considered here. I'll show you my binder here and show you what I was talking about here. These are cards that I have a huge time finding, hard time finding if I can get to the cards here. I reorganized this binder a little bit so things are a little bit out of order. But these are called Red Wave. And I guess there's numbered editions. But this, early 2000s, I think this is from 2003. Really nice upper deck product with all the foil and stuff like that. I really like these cards. I only have 3 of them. I have a few more coming, and I can't remember if there was 50 cards in the set there, so even if I could get all of them. The David Beckham one is, I think, one I wanted, and I've seen that for around 15 or 20. I don't really remember. So there's just a random player there. And I think that's a subset there. And there's other, these are numbered. These are not numbered. But there's like a number to $9.99, and I guess they're, essentially $10 per card for the $9.99. That's a small number for the 2003, so what can you do? Then I got another one here, another Red Wave here. These are virtually, and again, Manchester United is just a big, big, big team, and so like the 70s cards with Manchester United players on, they all get bids and they get bought up and that sort of thing, because there's big, huge collectors. And I showed this before, these before. I didn't get very many of any of these, but these are a lot of, England and soccer. There's Wembley Stadium there, and I finally have found some sellers on eBay and Fanatics Collect, what I was saying, Burbank sports cards. It's just like pulling teeth, trying to get stuff. I know I'm being kind of quiet here, so hopefully you can hear me from this. I'm just pulling teeth trying to get some of this stuff. I really like the old World Cup soccer from Upper Deck from the 90s. It's just way, way, way too frustrating. And again, 99 cents is not a bad deal. But the thing is that none of these are virtually, I don't know who this is here. I forget who that was even. Just a random card I found here. But it just... Oh, never mind. I thought I heard something. It just so crazy. Here's a Match Attacks card. I think I got this overseas. Maybe that was ComC I got that from there. I think that's what that was from. I forget who this, Hernan Crespo. But the thing is that it's just like really, really painful, because like I'm not pulling out Don Matting's or any kind of notable names, and so I'm just getting burned just trying to get anywhere closer to set. If I get 5 cards and that's 150 cards in the set, then I'm not anywhere closer to finishing out the set. And if I work on that set and that one set only, again, I wanted to work on the 74, 75 A and B, C footballers. I have 4 cards in the set, but if I'm going to have to pay $8 to $10 for a card, no, everybody would look at me like I was just absolutely out of my mind, and they say, well, I see these cards at one time sold for $1 a piece, so how about 50 cents each? Sort of thing, half of that. And I spent $10 per card in varying grades. And those are just for the commons. I want $15,000 for the set. And people say, you're nuts, dude. It's like, yeah, well, get them all graded and you might make, half of your money back. So, all this talk about Mickey Mantles, Babe Ruths, and Honus Wagners have nothing to do with me. Yes, it's fun and fantastic that somebody found an $8 million card, but I was just trying to buy a card that, for $1 that really should be a quarter, and then because nobody else, you go to a card show with all of these soccer cards here, regardless of what they are, people are, unless it's a couple superstars, they're going to say, you know what, I don't want any of those because I don't know how to deal with it. Upper Deck made a crazy amount of cards back in the 90s, and there was a few years that got skipped, but then they just did a bunch of Manchester United sets in like 2001, 2002, and 2003 or something like that, maybe even 2000, and it just, kind of fun stuff there that I would kind of like to pick more of, and I was thinking, the Red Wave set might be a viable option to build. I think one of these was Roy Keane, and he was, kind of a star at one point. It's really hard to know which Roy Keane cards are the valuable ones and which ones are not. That one I could get on Fanatics Collect for, $1 or 99 cents. But, Burbank sports cards, unless you spend $100, you don't get free shipping. Do I really want to buy 199 cent cards or $1.25 or whatever? That's a lot, yes, it's 100 cards, but man, I hear about all these crazy Facebook deals where somebody gets like 10,000 cards for $50, and again, I'm only buying 100 commons. That doesn't seem like, that's like 2 blaster boxes now. It's nuts. There's nothing you can do about it. For us set builders, we're just basically hosed. And those cards that, yes, they do eventually go, but the ones, I'll show you Fanatics Collect here. And I'll show you one of the cards I picked up here. So if I can click on it here, this is Manchester United for Club and Country here. And then what we want to do here, I don't know how much time I have on my camera or battery at all. Takes a little while, but when I looked at COMC, a lot of these are $2 and $3 per card. So I was happy to pay the $5, and this is my first order here. But this looks like a fantastic, oops, they zoomed into a smaller, but this would look like a fantastic card. I don't know how much foiling is on that card, but I think that's a really cool design. Some of those early 2000s cards are really pretty nice. We just don't know how good we have it, and I don't see anybody doing any mid to early 2000s, late 90s cards on their videos. They only do junk wax or ultra modern or ultra vintage. That's all they do. So do you see anything from 2003 to 2012? Never. Virtually never. Unless it's some sort of, Derek Jeter player collection card there, and that really has no interest to me. Again, I think I was the first one to practically ever show these on here. These cards from Italy. I don't remember what company they're, DS or something. I don't know, whatever they were here. This guy from, I can't tell where that guy's from. It's in tiny little, don't do cursive and do tiny little letters like that. That's just impossible. And then we've got, of course, some people know, this is Marcelo Lippi, and I just thought that was kind of and it has an upper deck look to it, you know what I mean, with the foil and stuff out the side there, or some sort of Panini type card there. I think these are like DS or something. Yeah, DS cards there. And again, these are not easy to find. I think there's on ComC, but they're like $2.50 to $4 a card. And, and I was getting them for half that through Italy, but now there's all kinds of rules. You can't do that. So again, and it's just, like I said, I just want to get different examples, but, if I can build a set that nobody else is building, then why not, Again, I'll just show you some other cards here. I got some Topps Now ones, and I would like to go to do Topps Now cards, but again, with the COMC, they're like a little bit more than I want to spend. I guess I could go to eBay and look for Topps Now soccer cards, and I thought, this whole binder was just originally to be, one or two examples of each card, but it's gotten kind of big. And I wanted to abandon a lot of these crazy, insanely huge baseball card sets and work on the cards. Again, it's not supposed to be about the money. It's like stamp collecting. People do it just because they want to do it, not because the stamps have any value. And so I wanted to do that with this, transfer to this for 2026. I'm not going to go soccer only. That would be just crazy, and I'd be bored with it. And eventually I will look up some of these players and figure out how good they were and see what their age is and where they're at and see if they're still alive. And then in some of these early upper deck sets, there's autographs and numbered cards, and they're just like hundreds of dollars, just players you've never even heard of. It's like, wow, this is not a Ronaldo or a Beckham or something like that, and this is like $100 for this autograph card here. You just don't find that stuff. It had a global world market. And some of these cards, if you find the right vendor, there's hundreds of them. But, I just don't know. My LCS would not know or care, what these are valued at. They just want them gone, because unless they pull out all the big names of stars. Oops, I just broke something. These little protectors for the binder just broke and snapped, Can't really do anything about that. This is just essentially disintegrated. That disintegrated, so I have to throw that away. Anything else I have before I finish up here? I've been watching people's videos, but there's nothing that pertains to me other than the autograph request. There's nothing that pertains to me. Maybe I'll show you one more card I picked out of here. I wanted to show you, there's some game cards. I found some Marco Reus cards. I guess I'm sort of PCing him, but for whatever reason, I don't know. Just was just a person that I just liked the card that I first picked up there, and then I saw him score a goal on TV, and I was all excited. And this is just a common card here, but this particular Royce card here was only 99 cents, and again, a lot of people are charging $1.50 to $2 plus a couple dollars for shipping. There's only 4 left of those. I guess I could have bought all 4, but again, I don't have this base card here. And on COMC or eBay, I think, or COMC, the base card was more than the blue foil or the blue parallel card, which I do have of this one here. So whatever, I don't know. Know nothing virtually about him. I just looked him up once or twice there, but it was just, you just gotta PC somebody in any sport. So I just PC random people as long as they're not cruds, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much it there. I'll show you a few more cards here. I don't want to spoil the whole order, but again, it was only 15 cards. Again, buying cards at 99 cents, they really stack up there. And then I show people my order. I said I got $20 worth of cards, but then if I did like a bulk lot or something, I would come out way ahead. But I don't find a lot of people selling soccer cards at bulk deals. I just see one of a kind. If I'm missing something or not understanding something, type in set or whatever like that, I don't know how big the 2020, UEFA Champions base set is. How many cards are in there. I was basically able to do the Bundesliga set that was the premier set, or the first set, the inaugural set, or maybe it was the second year set, but I got the inaugural set, I think as it was, for next to nothing, because my LCS used to do dime cards. Just throw boxes in a card for a dime. Just don't, like tell me, oh, it's going to be this and this and this. I just want to have cards priced at a dime, and that's where I need to be. This would be a great dime card, or maybe a 50-cent card. But for 99 cents, I don't see anybody zipping on this, really, unless you're a big Dortmund fan or whatever you want to call it, BVB, Borussia, or whatever you call it. I don't really know. And I know nothing about nothing, but it's always good to learn, because I've always liked soccer since I was a kid, because I found a soccer ball in a creek, and it was one of those multi-red, white, and blue ones, a fancy edition. And I just always liked kicking the ball around. I always liked watching soccer a little bit, and kicking the ball as far as I could, and I thought I would be a good soccer player, but never got to do that. And so I don't know, I just like soccer for whatever reason. And it's not because I like the shorts or anything, but that, whatever. That gets kind of silly and ridiculous. It looks like my binder's falling apart here, all my pages. And again, another failed set build. I'm only 17 cards shy from a set there, but people in the United States, are charging $5 to $10 for the cards, and the UK is only charging barely £2 for these cards here for the commons. So I can't get them right now because of all the tariffs and the people that don't want to sell. And one of my favorite sellers, I did find him on eBay, but he is not selling any of his soccer cards. They're all locked in the UK now. So anything else is sent on his page, the non-sports stuff or whatever, but none of his soccer cards are available to the United States. So that is all I have for you. Just a little update on what I'm trying to do and not being very successful at it. And thank you for watching.